Hello and welcome to Talking Point. Tonight's hot topic, one that's been brewing for the past 3 weeks. The unexpected change of guard at the Association of Women for Action and Research, or AWARE, after its annual general meeting, has thrown the women's group into the limelight.
The sudden walking out of the new president from the committee and uncertainties over the new direction of the new leadership have raised concern among long-term AWARE members. 160 of them are now calling for an extraordinary general meeting for the new Exco to seek a vote of confidence.
And just a few days ago, another twist. The newly elected president, Josie Lau, who took up the post after member Claire Nazar walked out, has come under fire from her employer, DBS Bank, for breaching the staff code of conduct in her decision to run for the presidency of AWARE.
And we have in studio with us Ms. Josie Lau, President of AWARE, Ms. Maureen Ong, the Honorary Treasurer, and Lo Chi Kong, Senior Reporter with Today newspaper, who has been following the AWARE saga. Welcome to the show, all three of you.
Thank you.
Can I start the first question, Josie, to you? I think the latest story, the latest twist, if you want to call it that, is about DBS and the way the DBS has come out into the public to talk about your appointment in AWARE. Yes. And we hear that issue has been resolved. Would you like to talk about it? Tell us.
Yes, it's been resolved, but we're still under discussion, so I'm not at liberty to disclose anything at the moment.
Well, okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I mean, this is the first interview you're giving since the whole saga is broken. What's the main thing you'd like to get across? What have you learned in the whole saga? I mean, you've been keeping quiet so far. Why now? Why have you agreed to speak to us now?
Well, earlier we couldn't speak because there wasn't a precedent. And under the Constitution, we could only speak through the President.
The President is the appointed spokesperson for the AWARE. And it's for her to speak and represent AWARE to the external parties, yes.
So until I was fully appointed on Wednesday night, I couldn't say anything. And then in the last 2 days, because of the controversies, we thought it is best not to engage in tit-for-tat kind of discussion. And honestly, I'm involved in AWARE, not to be involved in any of such controversies. No one had anticipated such controversies. So it is good to subscribe to the principle, the less said, the better sometimes. But when the time is right, we should come out and say something.
To be fair to Josie, the situation was that she really had no time to react. The press, it was all over the press, all the issues about what is happening in AWARE after the AGM. And because of the turn in events, the elected President Claire stepping down, we had to call an immediate Exco meeting, and we had to give 7 days notice. So when we called the meeting on the 15th of April, there was already so much publicity, and the press was not giving us any space. And if we had a meeting on the 15th April and we were not able to name a president, you know, it would have been so terrible for AWARE. And frankly speaking, the Constitution provided that new president could only be named from the elected ordinary committee members, which means that office bearers like myself, the vice president, could not be named. And we had 6 elected ordinary committee members, of which one was Josie.
So how do you come to accept this position?
We went around the table on the night of the 15th April, and she was the last man standing.
Woman standing.
Yeah.
And after, so what happened after you decided to take up the post? I mean, the controversy with the bank and so on. I mean, could you explain what happened?
Well, that evening, like Maureen explained, there was hardly any room to move. And I was the last woman standing. And I felt that I had to pick up the baton to run and continue to lead this organization that had been marred in controversies in the last 1-2 weeks, and plus the president that walked out after one Exco. So somebody has to come, step up.
And pick up the baton.
Yes. And like I said again, there was hardly any room to move that night. If I had walked out of that meeting without a president named, there will be further questions asked. No leadership.
The Exco actually applauds Josie for stepping out to take this position. And we are behind her all the way.
Can I just move to Chi Kong? Chi Kong, you have been covering this story, reporting on it, and as well as following it. What do you think? I mean, looking at it from a bit global perspective, what do you think are the main issues that have come out so far?
I think for me, I see three issues. I mean, the obvious one is the DBS reaction to Ms. Lau's appointment, leaving that aside for the moment. The other one is obviously, let's talk about the new committee first. I think, granted what Ms. Lau has said about the difficulties in terms of they're binded by the Constitution to speak to the press, but we all know, one day in terms of news flow is a long day, let alone 1 week. What is obvious is the OGAD and the new team are not communicating. I mean, if Ms. Nazar had left, she being the president, she could have said something if, all's well. So this when such vacuum occurs, speculations will go wild, which I thought should be addressed and nipped at the bud.
So why is there so much unhappiness between the new guard and the old guard? I mean, what actually is the issue here?
I really don't understand why there's so much anger is directed at the new committee. We're here to further the cause of women, which is, I don't think, any different from what they're doing. And there has been call by the old guard for new blood.
Yes.
And we're taking on what they have said. And if you look at the membership over the years, it's a 24 years old organization, mind you. And it had gone down to as low as 200 plus.
At the end of last year.
At the end of last year. So what has happened to the organization? Has it lost its focus?
So do you think the organization has lost its focus, and that's the reason why you and your team want to come in?
Yeah.
Well, I think that AWARE has become too diversified.
What do you mean by diversified?
They're just moving into too many areas and not going into depth. Okay. So what the new committee wants to do is that, like any good corporation, if you're diversified too much, consolidate. And as with any new committee, we know that resources are always limited. Let's take a look and review what's done in the past that's good, let's keep, and what new ideas we have to bring. So it is bringing back to basic. And I think today's climate, it's so difficult for employees, and I think it's even more so for women, especially widows, single mothers, and I think we have to bring it back to basic and try to uplift our women from there and equip our younger women to take on leadership position, bro.
All right, hold that thought. We have to go for a short break now. When we come back, we'll discuss what other new plans the committee has. Stay with us.